everybody. Welcome to this edition of Coffee Time with Byron. This is episode number 42. And alongside me, via Zoom, former major leaguer and 1 year in the Japanese league, right? Or Korean league? I can't remember.
Yeah, 2 seasons, 2 years in Japan.
Correct. Garrett Jones, thank you for joining. And it's a pleasure to have you. And as we were talking about, I hate to get this started, but you know how it is. We texted because my kids sent Blippi to you by mistake. So you know how it is with kids. You gotta love Blippi, right? We know him by heart, unfortunately.
I know. I sing the songs daily when I'm by myself in the car, and right now it's Bob the Train with our baby girl, so have them all memorized, and they're on repeat for sure. So until the next one, who knows what the next one will be, but yeah, those tunes stay with you throughout the day.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, I know. Me and the wife hear them all the time, and they're in our heads. And now, like I said, this new guy is taking over for him. He still does it, the original guy, but he has this new guy now to help him out. So,
nice.
Yeah, so it's awesome. And like I said, now maybe your kid will get into Paw Patrol as well, but that's what our kids are into. So
that's the hot one. Yeah, my son was definitely into Paw Patrol. He's 9 now, so he's kind of growing out of Paw Patrol. But that was the hot thing for a while there. So we'll see my daughter, see what she goes on to next. So.
But that's on to the kids now. That was the kids. So let's get right to it.
Yes, sir.
You are, I believe, I saw you're 40 now. Do you think you have, in today's game, you think you could possibly get back into the game and play? Or do you not have aspirations to play no more? You're happily retired?
I think just playing the pure game, playing baseball. Yeah, I miss playing the game daily and just competing. And athletic-wise, I feel like I could compete. Now you throw in the grind of a long major league season. As far as dealing with aches and pains, playing every single day, recovering, and then just being away from family. I mean, you throw out those factors in. I don't think mentally I'd be able to do it. It'd be a lot harder mentally right now than it was, say 10 years ago, or whatever. But I think physically, definitely, I could still play. I feel great, feel healthy. It seems like every team now though has 100-mile-an-hour pitchers and all these things, all these unbelievable arms, whether it's left-handed or right-handed. I mean, there's a lot of power arms out there. But I loved hitting the fastball, so I would just gear up for that fastball and be challenged. And now it seems like strikeouts. I mean, I think when I was coming up back in the minor leagues, strikeouts were considered. If you got close to 100 strikeouts, you were striking out way too much.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's kind of like strikeouts is going to happen because pitchers are nasty, but as long as you're still putting up some decent power numbers and that sort of thing, you're okay. So, yeah, I mean, I miss the game all the time. Like I said, I actually just joined a slow pitch softball team that I'll be playing with in the fall. And then there's a team I still want to get touch bases with called the Nashville Dollies down here. It's basically a rec league, and they play once a week. And just to get out there, have some camaraderie, and still be able to play the game, swing a bat, and hit a baseball is all I want to do. So as long as I could do that a little bit here and there, suppresses that taste a little bit, and just gives me a little peace.
Now that you mentioned, because you mentioned the whole strikeout thing, you debuted before that whole strikeout walk, before that entered the game. If your son decides to get, since your son is that age, into playing Little League and all that, Are you trying to coach your son into today's game of the strikeout, walk, or when you played before you got called up, to where it's hitting, move the runner over? What do you want to teach your son, today's game or the game you came up in?
Probably I think at a young age it's important to teach him the game. Be a hitter first before, you think long ball. You see these guys on TV hitting all these home runs, and you get excited and you try to mimic them. But I think as a young player, it's important to teach them just a basic hitting skill, staying inside the ball, being able to drive the ball to all fields. And like you said, situational hitting, getting the runner over, getting a sac fly. I mean, that's, I think teams still value that. It's just kind of a lost art. I don't think people talk about as much, but it's still an extremely valuable asset to have on a team, and it's going to help you win ball games. So I think at a young age, you kind of distill that and then develop as they get stronger and their body grows and all that sort of thing, that, the home runs will be there. And just as long as you're hitting backspin, hard line drives up the middle and in the gaps, those home runs will eventually come. And, when you get big and strong and like an Aaron Judge or a Stanton, the pop-ups that you carry out. So, but yeah, I think at a young age, it's important. Be a good hitter first and then worry about hitting homers.
Any advice you have for your son playing around this day and age of baseball?
Yeah, it seems, younger and younger, they're putting a lot of pressure on these kids as far as travel baseball. And even at my son's age, he's 9, and there's travel teams. They're playing all year round. They're playing a ton of games, practicing, and it just, I feel like that's a recipe for disaster at some point at this age, putting all that pressure on them to win. And focusing on one sport at such a young age, I feel like that would cause a burnout, And for me as a kid, I played soccer, football, basketball. I played all the sports all year round, and I played baseball in the summer, and then switched to another sport. So I was able to kind of get away from it, and then when baseball was coming, I was hungry and excited for it. And I never felt like I got burnt out of baseball, even at the pro level. Playing every day was something I enjoyed, and but at a young age, I don't think I was exposed to it so much day in, day out. So that helped that not happen. So yeah, for my son, I'm just like, I'm taking it slow with him, have fun, just teaching him some fundamentals, get his fundamentals down, but not putting too much pressure on him. Just, if he wants to go play, we'll go play, and when we have a loss or have a bad game, it's what did we do that day? What did we do wrong today? What can we learn from today? And that's how we would end all our games. We actually had a great coaching staff, his spring team. Matt Merton, I don't know if you remember Matt Merton, he played with the Cubs.
Yep, I tried to get him.
Stint in Japan.
Yeah. What's that? I tried getting him. I'm trying to get him now to come on the show. It's kind of tough, but because I know he's a busy man.
Yeah, he's busy. He's a busy guy. I know he's got his hands full with his kids, and he's doing a lot. He's a great coach, great instructor, great guy, great Christian guy, and so he ended up being Jackson's head coach. Just kind of fell into place, and then I was helping out, and then there was some guys from Vanderbilt helping out, and then now we're getting Chase Headley lives in the area, so we're getting our kids together. So we're all on the same page with that. Hey, it's not about winning at this age. Yeah, winning the game is fun, but it's important they learn the fundamentals of the game and just what happens during the loss, mistakes, learning from your mistakes, and just continuing to develop and improve, and not having that pressure at a young age of winning, because that pressure, as you get older, if you continue to play, you get into high school, then college, and then that winning pressure starts being on you. But at this age, I just feel like that backfires at a young age. So yeah, that's not our focal point at this point.
Yeah, that's another one too I'm trying to get on, because Chase Headley was also one of my favorite players, because he played on the Padres for a long time, and just to know that he's in the same area as you, and you guys got kids playing Little League, that's awesome. What is Chase like as a person? I know you didn't get to play with him as a teammate, but how is he with the playing with the kids? You guys playing tossing with the kids? What is he like as a person?
Well, I actually did get to play with him in 2015. He was with the Yankees. He signed with the Yankees to be a third baseman. So, in 2015, when I went over to the Yankees that offseason, I played with him that whole year. So, got to know him a little bit. And he's a great guy. I mean, he's a great family man, great guy. And just, we all have similar views on the game and what it takes to just to have the mentality of winning, but also the mentality of just being a good person and a good teammate and understanding the game, dealing with the failures. So I think that's a great group with Matt Burton, Chase Headley, and then Ben Zobrist is also in the area as well. So, to get together with all these guys with so much baseball knowledge, I love just talking and hearing their feedback on things that they've dealt with and comparing myself to them and certain things we've dealt with and pressures. And so it's a great just baseball knowledge, that we can just bounce questions and ideas off each other, and we all get it. So it's fun.
So you originally got drafted by the Braves, but didn't make the major league roster with them. You went through their minor league system. So then you got released by them, got signed by the Twins, went through their system, and then eventually got called up by the Twins. Take us through your major league debut. Did you have goosebumps? And who eventually told you got called up?
Yeah, it was pretty special and just emotional moment all the way around, all the way up until I showed up to the park. But I was in AAA with the Rochester Red Wings for that was my third season. And I had the same coach, Stan and Stu Clyburn, the Twins. I was with them in AA, so then they came up to AAA with me. So I was with them 4 years in a row. Mm-hmm. And Stan knows how hard I worked and how he helped me a ton. So we were always talking, and he was helping me, and so he knows. And he called me in the office and told me I was called up, and that was it was an emotional time, and hugging him and then calling my parents was emotional, and then. Just being on cloud nine all the way till I showed up in Cleveland, flew to Cleveland, and the first night was DHing against Paul Bird. So, again, butterflies and goosebumps and everything else you could name was flowing that night. And I just remember walking out of the dugout, with all the fans there, and just, I'm just in awe. Like I couldn't even focus on playing. I was so just emotionally just in awe of, like, oh my gosh, I'm like, here, this is like my goal, it was the goal to get there. And that goal was achieved. Like, now I could say I made it, and I think once I got past those butterflies and some of the just excitement of, hey, like, this is still a game, and it's still my career choice, and I want to keep playing, and you haven't made it yet, like, wanted to keep going. So I was able to calm down, focus, and kind of, once I got those nerves out, was able to put up some decent numbers and have a career. But yeah, that first day was just emotions off the charts.
Now, as you said, you went up against Paul Bird of the Indians. Take us through that at bat and getting your first major league hit against Paul Bird, and you still have the ball to this day that was given to you.
Yep, definitely still have the ball. It's in a ball case. We're actually in transition now, so it's in storage because we're moving. Still have the ball, first hit, and Paul Bird was a veteran, crafty pitcher, and he could work the ball in and out. And I remember studying the scouting reports because they had way more reports on the pitchers in the big leagues than they did in AAA. So I'm reading everything and trying to just not make a mistake and just basically overachieve, trying to be an overachiever. Mm-hmm. And do everything I can instead of just seeing the ball, hitting it, keeping it simple. But I ended up getting what did I do? My first at bat, I popped up, and then I think my second at bat, I got the hit, ground ball just through the infield, squeaked through. So it's nice to get the first one out of the way, and then I think I ended up grounded out or flying out again, and then I walked. So I was like 1 for 3 the first game. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the bat felt so light, and just it was hard to focus on the ball because of all the emotions, and just focus on what I'm supposed to be doing, because I just kept telling myself, you're in the big leagues, and so that wasn't a good idea to do. So, but yeah, it was a special moment.
Do you remember what he threw when you got that hit? What pitch?
I think it was like his little slider cutter trying to jam me, and I just muscled it through. It just squeaked through. That was before they got the sky report to shift, so I snuck it through the first baseman, second baseman, and if they would have had the shift, it would have been an out. But then I guess they didn't have the sky reports yet.
Right, that's true. Yeah, because when you first got called up, yeah, they didn't really emphasize on the shift. That was mainly started by Joe Madden. I mean, granted, he is a good manager, but I wish he wouldn't have implemented that into the game, because now everybody uses it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of used to an extreme degree, and I mean, you have a short right fielder. I saw actually a few days ago, he just got traded to Yankees, big lefty hitter from Texas. He had a
Joey Gallo?
To like second baseman, was in short right, and he just caught it, standing right there. It would have been a line drive hit, but I mean, it takes 20, 30 points away in your average, and it was very frustrating at times. And
yeah, it really is. I know for hitters, if I was a hitter, I know I would hate it, because that's not how baseball is. It's to hit the ball where the player isn't, and when you have the shift, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, just beat the shift." If you're a pull hitter, that's kind of tough, because how are you going to beat the shift if you're a pull hitter?
Right.
What do you say?
I mean,
what do you say to people who say that? I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, it's hard to manipulate your swing to how the defenders are playing. I mean, some slap hitters can do. When you're a power hitter, you're just trying to get a good pitch and drive it and put a good hard swing on it and square it up. So I mean, like I said, the line drives going to right center, for me, I would try to hit the ball gap to gap, and if it went somewhere else, it'd be, it just would, but my focus was up the middle, gap to gap, and so I hit a lot of line drives at right center gap, and that second baseman just would be super deep. But I did get a lot of squibber hits, sometimes I'd sneak a slow ground ball where the second baseman would run in and I'd beat it out. Mm-hmm. So I did get some cheap hits that probably shouldn't have been hits if they were playing straight up, but nonetheless, I'd rather have that hard line drive as a hit and all that good stuff. Now,
take us through the mindset of a hitter up at the plate, and in your case, what you did well as well. What are you mainly looking for through the pitcher? Do you notice what comes out of their hand? Does the pitcher hide the ball well? Do they not hide it well? What is your mindset as a hitter coming up to the plate?
All those things factor in. I think, the more you face a pitcher, the more you pick up their release point, the more you see how the ball comes out of their hand, all that stuff. And, it's either some days they're on locating, their stuff might be a little sharper, or some days they're not as sharp and missing over the middle of the plate. But I think philosophy-wise, you're facing a new pitcher, for me, it was just be on time to his best fastball. And, most pitchers tend, power hitters, they tend to get ahead away, down and away. So, knowing that, I would keep it simple. Just be on time to the fastball and look for something over the heart of the plate that I can drive and not his pitch. So, if I did that and not thought too much else, I'd be okay. But then as the game goes on, sometimes it's like, okay, this team's just pounded me and they won't throw anything away. They are just either off the plate in, or everything's just in or down in dirt. So then you can make a little adjustments there. Sometimes I would choke up, or just open my hip up a little bit just to see the ball a little better. So sometimes there's some minute changes you make during the game, just on how teams are pitching you and how they're attacking you. But you start with that philosophy, get a pitch over the plate, line drives up the middle, and and just that's it. Be on time for it.
So you only played 30-plus games with the Twins, so then you got released, and then you signed a deal with the Pirates. So then after signing the deal with the Pirates, you get called up right after the Eric Hinsky trade. Tell us about that, and did you know right away that you were going to be established with the Pittsburgh Pirates for a while, because you spent your most time there with the Pirates.
Right. Well, no. I mean, you never know. I think I was just going into that season. I had a lot of confidence. I was relaxed. Got a chance. I know Hinsky and I think Adam got hurt in spring training, so I got a lot of at-bats that spring. Had a great spring training with the Pirates. So opened some eyes, and so went down to Indianapolis and just played, had fun, stayed relaxed. Didn't really put pressure on myself, and I knew if I could just hit the team, they weren't winning a lot of ball games, and they told me, you just continue to play like you were and like you showed in spring, you're going to be up here soon. So I was like, okay, that's what I got to do. So that's what I did and tried to do, and eventually they ended up trading Hinsky and called me up, and I went up with a different mindset this time. I knew I could play. I wasn't in awe of being in the big leagues at that point. I was like, okay, now it's time to just play the game and show me you can do and have fun. Because, the first time I got called up with the Twins, I think I was only up for about a week or 5 days. I got sent down. Yeah. Came back up for 2 weeks, struggled, and then I think I got sent down, and then got a September call up, and then, the next year I was in AAA all year. So you just never know how things are going to pan out. But, they said you're going to get some at-bats here, and I wasn't going to wait, and I just made sure I wasn't going to waste them, and I was going to let it loose and not think too much, and just do what I knew I needed to do to succeed and play the game and have fun. So had a good month that first month, and with the Pirates in July, I was Player of the Month, and that kind of solidified me as going to be in the lineup for a little bit.
So on July 17th in 2009, in a game against San Francisco, you first hit a home run off in the first inning off Tim Lincecum, a well-known, soon-to-be Hall of Fame pitcher, because I think he will be. And then you end it later with your second home run in the 14th inning off Bob Howery, who was another good pitcher. Take us through that whole experience, getting the home run in the first inning, and then ending the game in the 14th inning.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Had some family in town for that game too, so that made it pretty cool to see them after that game. And it was a long game, and I got the home run first at bat, and then I really didn't do much after that. And then coming in the 14th inning, I just had the mindset of I'm going to go up there and try to end this thing with one swing, and I was just focused and locked in and looking at one spot. I knew he had a good changeup, and I think that's what I ended up hitting out. But he painted a first one on me. I think he threw one down, and then that one just hung enough, and stayed through it and was able to drive it out right center. So it's fun, man. Walk-off home runs are fun for the team, and celebrating with the team after the game. And it was to have 2 in one game and end it. It's a blast.
Now here's an amazing stat. I don't know if you knew about this one. I'm reading this. You became the first to hit 7 home runs in your first 12 games with the Pirates since a guy named Dino Listelli did it in the 1949 season. Were you well aware of that stat, or did you not even know about that stat?
I did not know about it. I think I remember somebody telling me, when I had 6 or 7, they said like, it hasn't been done since then. But yeah, man, I was just on a mission to just keep hitting and staying in the lineup. That was my total focus. And I'm like, if I hit home runs and driving runs and just play good defense, I'm going to stay in that lineup. And luckily the Pirates gave me that opportunity, and I was a cheap player. I was in AAA the year before, and so I was league minimum, and so to put up some numbers and not be making a lot of money, or charging a lot of money, I guess you would say, the Pirates, are definitely loving that, and I know they like to keep the budget down, so I think that kept me in the lineup, and it kept me, going, and they believed in me. They believed in what I can do up there, so that I never had a doubt in that. So it was a special team to be with, and I enjoyed my time there tremendously. Great fans as well.
Now, did you like Did you like the right field porch hitting into the Allegheny River?
Yeah. That was PNC Park is beautiful, beautiful skyline. Fans. I mean, the whole ballpark. You just feel when you pull up, it's a gorgeous setting. And that short porch and right is it's a high wall, but you get it pretty good. You can get it out and bounce in the river, and I did have one in the river on a fly, and that was it was kind of I think a perfect storm. Had a little wind breeze blowing out to right field and hit it right down the line, and had a good pitch and swung hard and hit it on the sweet spot. So he hit it pretty good to get it out of there. And I know Josh Bell made it look easy a couple years ago, getting it in the river. But yeah, I was able to get one though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because believe it or not, I'm reading this now. You were the first Pirate to do so. You were the first one to hit it in the Allegheny River. Like, wow! And that stadium was open a while, and you were the first one to ever do it as a Pirate. That's crazy.
Yeah. Like I said, you needed to get it in the right spot. Otherwise, it would hit off that sidewalk, or you had to hit about 500 feet. So, but yeah, I got it right down the line and got good backspin, good wind, good day, and good pitch. It was Broxton, threw me a cutter down in. I just, like I said, took a crazy hard swing at it, and was able to kind of. It's special to be, remembered as the first guy to do it. I know Pedro Alvarez did it pretty soon after that,
yep.
And I know Josh Bell. I think he did it twice in 1 year. So
yeah,
very strong kid, and so I mean. But to be the first one, it's special. I still have that ball as well.
Oh, you got it retrieved?
Yeah.
They actually retrieved it for you?
What's that?
They retrieved it for you, huh?
They got it, yeah. And somebody, I think the Allegheny Coast Guard team right there just grabbed it. And they brought it in, and it's nice and soggy, and had that Allegheny scent on it. So, but it's in the ball case, with the other balls. So
there you go. Hey. At least the fan didn't get it, because if it was a fan, they probably would have came and wanted money from you just to get it. So you're lucky it was the Coast Guard.
Yeah, they're very nice. Yeah, Coast Guard. They brought it in. And I think I gave him a bat or something. Hopefully I gave him something.
So November of 2013, you were designated for assignment to make room for Jeff Decker. Did you know that unfortunately your time with Pittsburgh had ended? Who told you that it was over in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I was due to make, my salary was going up, and I know my playing time that year was down. I think they brought in, were they bringing Morneau, when we were trying to do the playoff run, all that stuff. But, my playing time went down, and just my money situation was going to be more expensive, and just all those things combined, I was like, I'd like to stay here in Pittsburgh. I love it here and I want to keep playing, but just kind of knew that things were falling into piece, that I might be going somewhere else. So got the call from Neil Huntington, and a very respectful call, and and it kind of just the nature of the business, type deal. And I knew I was, still a good player and had a lot of years left in me, and luckily had some calls right after that with some teams. I was close to signing with the Giants. I was close to signing with the Giants and Orioles, and ended up being the Marlins. Came with a 2-year guaranteed deal, and it was a deal I couldn't turn down.
Now, your time with the Pirates, you had a who's who of players. You had Burnett, you had McCutchen, you had Bay. What was it like with playing with Hall of Famers, going to be Hall of Famers, and looking at your stats, you could be, maybe, one day, hopefully, maybe, you could be. Yeah. But what's it like playing with Hall of Famers, and did they give you any advice I'm not going to say you were a rookie, but you kind of were for the major leagues. So did they give you any helpful advice when you were playing with the Pirates?
Yeah, a little bit for sure. I would always ask questions, especially when I was a younger guy, and I like to watch guys that have had a lot of success in the big leagues, and guys that have played the game, and Guys like AJ Burnett and how they take care of their business and how they're focused when they're out there and how they have I think play with a lot of great players and a lot of Hall of Famers on all the teams have been on. Torrey Hunter, play with A-Rod and on the Yankees and, Brett Gardner, Brian McCann, all these guys that were great. But one thing that they're all obviously a little different players and did different things, but they all they all stuck to a routine and they were all mentally strong and consistent in the games. And that was something that the mental side of the game was something I needed to work on to help me stay consistent. Physically, I feel like I could compete with anybody. It's just the mental side as far as dealing with failures, the day-to-day grind, the pressures and all that stuff. It helped to be on teams with like an AJ Burnett and Alex Rodriguez and how these guys got a ton of pressure on them, but they go perform, do their job, and they don't let it bother them. So that it helped, and I got to ask them questions and how they handled their and how they're able to block things out and how they almost trick their mind sometimes to not feel that pressure, and not create that pressure in their head. So it was an amazing experience, and I think it helped me in my game for sure, and it helped just in day-to-day life.
Now, you said you were on teams that were somewhat in the playoff chase. When that came about with the Pirates and you guys were going for the playoffs, how did you guys handle the games? Did you guys take were you guys nervous? Did you guys act like they were just other games? How were you guys preparing to try and make a playoff push? Were you scoreboard watching? What were you guys doing?
Yeah, I mean, it was intense. Pittsburgh, I mean, all of a sudden, the stadium was getting packed. It was 20 plus years before since the Pirates were in the playoffs last time. So, you can imagine the hunger the fans were having for a winner, and they were coming out, man, and the streets were getting filled, and we were seeing people on the streets always, and on the radio. I mean, you could feel just the energy in the city just ramping up, and it was a special time. And there. With all that said, and then the reporters, all of a sudden, instead of 3-4 reporters in the clubhouse, now you're seeing, 10, 15, and you're seeing ESPN in there and some other bigger names, and so you're starting to get out there. So, I mean, with all that being said, I mean, pressure can creep in to win and to want to win, and so we would have talks, and Clint Hurl was great at team meetings, just keeping us focused, keeping us in the game, playing the game, having fun, and enjoying the ride, because it is only going to last a brief moment. And so he did a great job at that, and so did our teammates. And we played hard and we played well. And, I wish we could have kept that team together a few more years that we had. But at that time, some of the pieces were being traded away. And right after, I think after 14, 15, they started trading guys out of the core that I came up with that kind of got us to the playoffs again. So, it was a great group of guys, but we just we had some good leaders on the team also as well to keep us going. Now,
after you were released by the Pirates, you signed a 2-year contract with the Marlins. How would you sum up your time with the Marlins that you spent the 2 years there with them?
Yeah, the players were awesome in Miami. I loved the team, loved the group we had. Miami was a tough park to play in. It was a huge park. There's a lot of stuff to do in Miami, so I think a lot of fans would be outside at the beach. So there weren't always a ton of fans there, but we got to play with guys. Jose Fernandez, was an amazing guy, an amazing talent. Stanton, I played with him, and Yelich. Yelich was just coming up, and you could see the talent he had as a hitter, his hitting ability. So. And it was like the veterans were me and Reed Johnson, Saltamakia, Casey McGee, and Jeff was it Mathis?
Jeff Mathis. Yeah, you're right, Jeff Mathis. Jeff Mathis. Yeah.
That's right, Jeff. He was a great guy. So we had a good. Oh, and Real Muto was on the team as well.
Oh yeah, the young one. Yeah, called up.
Yeah, and Kiki Hernandez. We got him. I mean, we're some guys that ended up going other places and doing a great job, or a really good job. And so we had a good team. So it was good to be with some of those guys at a young age and be able to pour into them and be with them. And but playing baseball in Miami it's different. It's definitely different than some other cities. And but it was an enjoyable time. And then I ended up getting traded that off season to the Yankees. So.
Yeah, now take us through that trade. Yeah, this was a big trade at the time in the offseason. You were traded to the Yankees for Martin Prado and David Phelps, along with Nathan Eovaldi, who's still killing it to this day, and Domingo Germán, who is still also killing it to this day. Take us through that trade. Who told you about the trade, and what did you think about it? Because this was your first time, to my knowledge, being traded.
Yeah, I was actually working out. My agent called me. I was working out with Pedro Alvarez at Vanderbilt, and my agent called me and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, I think, there's a good chance you're going to be traded, and I don't know who yet." And then I think he, could tell me a couple teams, but then he's like, "Hey, Yankee, you might be going to the Yankees." And I was like, "Oh, okay, sweet." So I got a call. Then he calls me back 10 minutes later. "Hey, you were traded to the Yankees." So I was like, "Oh, okay." And it happened that quick. And then I got a call. About a minute later, I got a call from Cashman, and then I got a call from Girardi pretty quickly after that. And then I called my wife and told her, "Hey, we're a Yankee," and she was excited because she was a huge Yankees fan growing up. And
there you go.
Her cousin or uncle? What is it? Cousin? I think cousin. Ron Coomer is her cousin, and he played, for the Yankees, and he was a good player. So, she was just excited to be a Yankee and to be, having that experience. So it was pretty exciting. You always think, wow, the Yankees have so much just panache around them and just awesomeness. So, I was excited for real going to that spring training.
Now, unfortunately, you obviously didn't last long, unfortunately, because later that year you got designated for assignment and released by them. What was your experience playing for the Yankees? What you were able to, and how much did you learn from? Like you said, you had A-Rod, you had Gardner, you had McCann, you had all those Hall of Famers. I mean, what was it like? I mean, playing for the Empire, the most hated team in baseball. What was it like playing for them?
It was awesome. I mean, it was the guys, were great. My locker was right next to Gardner and Teixeira, so I got to talk with them a ton. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play a lot. Teixeira. I was traded there because Teixeira had some injuries he was coming back from, and A-Rod was coming back from a suspension.
Right.
So, I was anticipating getting some good playing time, but those guys went off and stayed healthy, and so I kind of got stuck on the bench. But, being on the bench, was able to talk to a lot of those guys in the clubhouse and spent a lot of time with Alex Rodriguez, just watching him and his routine. And he was DH a lot, so I was watching him hit, and he was just study his swing. He'd have it at bat and study his swing, and he'd ask me questions. And I asked him questions. It was just really like, wow, like the experience was just surreal because he was still, here's Alex Rodriguez, 600 home runs plus, and he's still like, man, studying, trying to get better, trying to just tweak his swing, trying to bounce information off another guy. Another player, and I really appreciate that. And I learned a lot from him and how he just approaches the game. And it was a great clubhouse. I really, really enjoyed my time. Unfortunately, I came short, but it was a very enjoyable time there. Love Girardi, and the coaching staff was awesome as well.
What about the fan base? Did you enjoy that? Because I know a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the fans are intense. I love it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, unfortunately, I didn't get a ton of playing time. I got around a little home run streak, so that, I think I got I was able to take Joe Bono, who's back in the game, which I hope he gets back to the big leagues.
Playing for my Padres.
Yeah, he's the Padres, looking great. And I really hope he gets the biggest. But I ended up hitting a game-winning home run off him in Seattle. Was learning to pinch hit coming off the bench because I never did that in my career. So I ended up hitting some home runs, and so when you're doing well, man, the New York fans love you. So I wanted to make sure I did well. But New York was great. I mean, we had a great experience. Fans were great to us, and couldn't complain about that. Facilities were awesome, and we enjoyed our time for sure.
Now, after your time with the Yankees, did you know that your time in the majors was up, and that, or were you getting other calls from other teams?
Well, after that year, it was, I remember I could go to AAA for a month, or just wait and see if a team would call. And I ended up, just saying, well, let's just see if at that point in time, mentally, I was like, I don't know. If I spent 9.5 years in the minor leagues, I was just like, I don't know if I could go back. I have my son, and I just was like, man, I don't know if I could go back and play, mentally be there. So we ended up going home and just waiting, and the phone never really rang. And, they had all the September call-ups and all that. So, we didn't know what to expect going into the off season. Is a team going to call? Am I going to have to just go try out for a team? And pretty quickly, though, before the season was even over, right after the season was over. Yeah, it was right after the season ended. Japan was calling my agent and wanting to meet and wanting to, do a deal. I guess they had their eyes on me for a while, and was able to sign a 2-year deal there, which was a great deal. And so we we're going to Japan. We're going to go play in Japan. So financially, it made sense at the time with no other opportunities, not knowing what was going to happen. But I think just the whole opportunity of experiencing different culture and knowing how baseball's loved in Japan, it made sense at the time.
Now, how is the game like over there? Is it kind of different, or is it the same aspect as over here? What rules are different over there than they are over here?
I think, rule-wise, I think the games, if they don't, I think it's either the 14th or 15th inning. If we don't have a winner, it's considered a tie. So that happens. But other than that, rule-wise, I mean, it's very similar. I think the game fundamentally is played better over there. I think just fundamentally, catchers are unbelievable. You don't see a lot of pass balls. I mean, the infielders are phenomenal. The small ball game is a little more in play there. It seems like the game is a little quicker. There's less power guys there, but nonetheless, the game is played, the way the game's supposed to be played, getting runners over, a lot of bunts, a lot of the great at-bats, fouling tough pitches off, long at-bats, just a fast-paced game. Fans are cheering the whole game. They cheer each player has their own cheer, song when they come up to bat. And so, I mean, it's loud the whole game, and it's a great experience. We love Japan, my whole family. We love living there. It's a very safe, clean city, and great food and great people. And we always talk about how we want to go back and our experiences we had there.
What do you remember most about playing there, and you have a career moment that you had in your short tenure over there in Japan?
Yeah, I think my teammates, I had great teammates, even though there was a language barrier. We had a translator. I had a translator follow me around with me everywhere on the field, and but my teammates were awesome. But I did have, my first year, I ended up there. If you have 3-4 games as a foreigner, you struggle, they're going to send you down to minor leagues to get right. So I went down for a little bit my first year and came back up, and then against the Yokohama Bay Stars, I had 3 homers in one game, and drove I think I drove in 8 runs or 9 runs, and that was probably my big game there. Hit some long balls.
Now, what's talk about a little bit of today's game. Now, this just recently happened. I hope they make it annually. The Field of Dreams. What, you as a former player, wouldn't you have loved to play on that field that they played on? That was amazing what they made that field into.
Oh yeah, I mean that was so cool. I mean I grew up watching that movie, and to go play there too, and have the corn as in the back. I mean they did a beautiful job, and then the game itself kind of just was
awesome.
I mean, it was just magical. It was just awesome. To have a walk-off home run. I mean, the Yankees came back and they battled home runs, and I mean, the game played out perfectly in that scenario, in that field, and I mean, it was fun to watch. It was really fun to watch, and I think that's going to be the staple now. That they'll do that once a year. They should maybe do it twice a year, but. That was really cool. That's another thing Japan does too, is once a month. I mean, they don't have a Field of Dreams field, but once a month we will go like to the outskirts of Japan, like small towns, and we play at a baseball stadium for the fans that don't get to see or come to Tokyo or see a team play, which I thought was pretty cool. Which I thought that'd be cool. To kind of do that in the major leagues, maybe once a month, go somewhere in the middle of nowhere that have a baseball field, set it up, and here's a big league game, and I thought that was pretty cool to kind of expose, get some exposure out there and have the fans see the guys live, and those games I remember seeing the fans, they just were real excited and happy that we were out there.
Yeah, it was an awesome atmosphere because they had Kevin Costner throw out the first pitch. Literally right next door was the movie site, and you see them do the over shots of all the cornfields. Like, wow, you guys actually turned that into a baseball field?
Right.
Jeez. I was like, wow.
Cool. I know, that was a cool experience. I'm sure that those guys will never forget that.
No, and I'm sure if you were on that team, you wouldn't have either. You would remember for the rest of your life. I'm sure they would too.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just... I got to play in Cooperstown. I don't even know if I was with was it the Yankees or was that the Pirates? But we played in Cooperstown on that field, and it was freezing cold that day, I remember. But even that was pretty special. But I don't think it compares to that Field of Dreams. I mean, that's just so nostalgic and cool, and something that, like I said, I really hope they continue to do that stuff.
Now, do you think it's stuff like this they had to do to get the game back into consideration with NFL, NBA, and NHL, because they were losing a lot of viewers because of the way the game is so boring nowadays? I'm still a fan no matter what. I do think it's boring now, yes, because of as we talked about earlier, the walks, strikeouts, and home runs, but I still watch it. But do you think why they did this is to help grow the game back into to compete with the other sports?
That's a good theory. I mean, that's possible. I think it's just good to just raise that excitement level again and that passion. I mean, baseball's always been America's pastime, and the game is, the game is boring. Like, I don't like sitting watching baseball all the time. Like, it's just, it's hard to watch. I love playing it every day, but it is hard to watch at times. And
exactly.
So, I mean, I think the dog days of summer set in for the fans as well. It's just long, hot days, and to have something kind of interrupt that, like a Field of Dreams game, or just something like that. Whether it's going to small towns and having a small, just like another Sandlot type field, and you got the Yankees in Boston playing them, in the middle of nowhere, and I think that's cool, and I think that just kind of throws a wrench in just the static. I mean, it's a long season to begin with, so you need to do that in baseball, I think, because the season's so long, to just kind of keep it exciting and keep things moving and switching up and doing those types of things. I still say they need to make guys are hitting home runs left and right, but have it where the distance has some value. So if you hit it over 450 feet, it should be worth an extra run. So. Right.
Right.
You know, I feel like that distance should matter. You know, because the guy could hit a wall scraper to a 480-foot home run. I mean, that's got to have some more value than the shorter homer. But we'll see if that ever pans out.
Now, last year they implemented the extra inning rule where the runner's on second. Do you like that, and do you think the game should stick with that rule from here on out if they go to extras?
I mean, I definitely think it could end the game quicker. I don't know if it definitely adds any excitement or any sort of value doing that. Yes, it'll end the game quicker. You don't have as many innings, but it is. I think it does what it's supposed to do, and that's hopefully end the game quicker than having a 16, 17, 18 inning game. And we lost a game with the Pirates. I think it was 17 or 19 innings, and there's a play at home. I came out of the game like in the 8th or 9th, and then the game just kept going. And we had a play at home and with Mike McHenry, and runner was coming home, throw home, and McHenry tagged him clearly on the leg, and the umpire called him safe and walked off, and we lost the game. And it was just couldn't do anything about it. It was Clint comes out yelling like, "What are you doing?" But we ended up losing the game, and we shouldn't have, on that play. So, there's some things I think MLB can do, and I think they're always talking and trying to figure out what makes sense, what doesn't, and it's sometimes trial and error.
So let's talk about your team that you spent the time with the longest, the Pirates. What do you think they need to do? Because I know it's been up and down since they made the playoffs. They've been off and on trading. They haven't been good. What do you think they need to do to make the level of your guys' teams and close to the playoff picture again?
Well, they have a lot of talent. They get high draft picks, that they're developing, and they're coming up. I mean, I know they have a lot of guys coming up through the system. They have a young team right now on the major league level. So I think it's just developing a lot of those guys and having a right core base that they stick with, and keeping a team together. I think is very important. Over an extended period of time, just to build that team camaraderie in the clubhouse and to have each other's back. That's very important. And I've been on teams that it wasn't as great, and it just seemed tougher to win, and for whatever reason, it just was. And so team camaraderie is very important, and I think you need to develop that as guys come up through the system and stay together at the major league level and figure things out. And but the Pirates aren't short of talent by any means, and I know they got some really good. They got a really good high A team. The whole team is a bunch of studs, some good arms coming up. So, it's whether when those guys get to the major leagues, they can kind of do what Andrew McCutchen, Neil Walker, Sterling Marte, all those guys did, and kind of figure it out pretty quickly, and turn that into a winning recipe. So, the Pirates don't spend a lot of money, and that is what it is. So you have to work with what you got, and a lot of it is young guys that are hungry, but obviously everyone develops a little differently and timing wise, but they try to do that recipe and get those guys up there and try to have a winning product before they get too good and too expensive. Then they ship them out to get younger talent again. So it's kind of that cycle of, if you don't show you can win quickly, you're going to be shipped out. So it is what it is, and it's tough to work with, I think, for the coaches, sometimes general manager, but that's the way it goes, and you gotta make the most of it.
Now, since you are still a fan like I am of the game, who do you see, and I know it's early, who do you see in the World Series, and who do you see winning it?
Oh, man, I to be honest with you, I haven't watched a whole lot of baseball this year just because we were moving, and we had our baby daughter, so I was catching up on sleep a lot of times and not staying up watching baseball. So, I know the Phillies are coming on strong. Hopefully, man, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't even think I could say a team with any kind of educated guess. So, but
no problem there. No problem there.
We'll see what the Yankees can do. I know White Sox look good too. So.
Oh yeah, they're killing it this year.
Yeah. And there's another team, like their talent. A lot of their young talent is developed, and I was a big White Sox fan growing up, coming from the south side of Chicago. So, it'll be cool to see them win again.
Now, last question before I let you go.
Yeah.
One word that summarizes your MLB career and your time in Japan. What would that one word be, and why would you say it's that word?
One word. Man. I think just content. I think I'm very content with the career I had. Well, thankful. That's 2 words. I'd probably say thankful more than content. Just thankful. I got the opportunity to play, got a second chance at the major league level, which a lot of guys just don't. Fell in a good situation and was able to turn into a pretty good major league career, and thankful was able to play in Japan and have that experience as well. So I think just thankful would be the word that would sum up everything, the whole experience, the whole career. Met my wife at the batting cages, and my son had got to experience Japan. So just thankful for all those things.
Perfect. Couldn't have said it any better. I appreciate your time. It was fun. It was amazing. You're more than welcome to come on as many times as you want. I've got your contact info. I'll text you here and there. It was a pleasure. It was fun. Tell the wife and kids I said hello. Enjoy more Blippi.
Yeah.
Because they're making more every day, it seems like.
Right.
But can't get enough of Blippi, right?
Exactly. Every day. Yeah. Every day grind now. It's baseball every day. Now it's Blippi and Bob the Train, and that's the grind I'm on now. So.
Yep, I feel you there as a parent. So,
right.
But yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you. I'll text you, and I'll text you if you want a copy of the episode. I'll send it to you. And hey, yeah, you're more than welcome to come on as many times as you want.
Thanks, Byron. I appreciate the time, man, and love always talking about baseball, and many blessings to you and your family as well. So
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll stay in touch and look forward to the next time.
Definitely. Until then, you stay safe. I'll text you as soon as we get off. Yeah, but stay safe. This Corona thing is still out there, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, hopefully we'll get through it. Yeah, we'll get through it. So
we will.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Definitely. Take care. Have a good day.
You too. You as well.
And stay safe moving too, because I know you're moving. So.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Take care.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Garrett Jones, everybody. What a tremendous chat. I hope to have him on again as many times as he wants. It was awesome. So this concludes episode number 42. And be seeing you tomorrow night when we have on former pitcher Ray King. Until then, stay safe.